This podcast is sponsored by YRC Real Estate Group, offering a tailor-made service, versatility and expertise for all your real estate needs. Are you thinking about selling, buying, investing or having your properties managed? For more information, check our website, www.yrcrealestategroup.com. We are passionate about real estate and we love to support local businesses. We hope you guys enjoy the podcast. Cheers.
You hit that subscribe button. I don't know where it is around here. I think it's right here. And follow us on Spotify. But yeah, we have Steph Ly with Thrive, earning six figures, and she's in network marketing, online business. I don't know, multi-level marketing, right?
Yeah, it's direct sales, network marketing, whatever you want to call it. It's a platform that a business model that, kind of fell into my lap. I sure as heck was not looking for it. I don't think people actually really know what they're getting into at first. They just know, for me, it was just, hey, I found a product that I love and, oh, you can make money too by telling people, sure. And that's kind of where I got started with it. And I've tried all sorts of different businesses. I've had my own brick and mortar store. I've had online businesses. I've worked corporate. I've worked retail. I've done it all, right? So to find something that worked for me and is sustainable was huge. Yeah.
Well, before we talk about how you got into Thrive, what is Thrive for people that don't know?
So we're a health and wellness company, and what we focus on is actually gut health, okay, and pharmaceutical grade vitamins. We also do have skincare. We have all these different plus line products for different things, but our core product is this gut health product. It's a simple 3-step system that heals your gut health and then puts these pharmaceutical grade vitamins back into your body. So super simple, 3 steps. And the reason why there's been so much movement is that you feel it. So it's not just any vitamin. We get to the root of the problem. We fix your gut health. And gut health, guys, I mean, my God, I learned so much about gut health in the past few years. And I mean, it's basically your second brain, right? So it's going to control things like your metabolism, your energy levels, how your hair and skin look, your mood even, right? And just so many other things start in the gut. So if you're not taking care of your gut health and you're feeling all these things, what you need to do is clean it out, right? Detoxify yourself and then put the vitamins back in. So that's our core product. That's basically what we've built everything on. But that's what it is, health and wellness.
Yeah, because I've actually heard that like the gut is actually where a lot of the ailments come from. Like if you don't have proper like gut probiotics or gut like bacteria, because it's like essentially like another living colony that's inside of your stomach. And if you have really poor gut like health, then it actually causes a lot of ailments that people don't even know.
Huge.
And I've actually heard of that in like the hospitals as well too. Like if people are suffering from something that they can't really cure, it's like they'll do like a fecal transplant or something like that, so with someone that actually has really good gut probiotics, so that it'll help like sort out some of the issues in their stomach if that their stomach is lacking.
Yeah, it's like a control center, and I think that we're not taught that. Sometimes we're just think, oh, we need to add things to our body, but what we actually need to do is clean out that gut, right, so it can function better. So yeah, like picking up all these little nuggets of information along the way is just really opened my eyes to, oh my God, we need to take care of ourselves, but we don't just need to add things, right? We don't need to just add things for energy, more coffee. That was me before, right? But what I actually needed to do was clear out my gut health, clean myself. And then that way I was feeling how I'm naturally supposed to feel. I don't want to add more things, I just want my body to be functioning how it should be functioning. So huge, gosh, if you Google it and you get into it, there's a ton of stuff to learn about gut health. But the things that I will literally be like, my God, will this help if I clean up my gut? Like it will help so many elements of your body, not just physically, but mentally as well, right? So huge, like very huge stuff.
I feel like I've always had issues with my gut, or I would say like body, and I've tried to thrive, and it was a little intense for me, so I had to do half.
Yep.
But I still do it once in a while. Like I still have it, but like my package, I think
See, you need to be consistent with it. It's kind of like you can't just go halfway on your detox, right? Like if some people, they feel it day one, they're like, I feel amazing. I feel on top of the world. That was me. I was like, what the heck? And some people, they have to detox first. So you got to stay consistent with it, because it's kind of like working out halfway and then not seeing the results, right? It's kind of like it takes time, because how long have we, it's decades that we've been putting junk into our guts, not taking care of ourselves, drinking, smoking, all these kind of things, eating that junky food. How many years, how many decades have we been doing that? So sometimes it takes time to clear out. But the good thing is that once you start doing it consistently, you're like, basically I think within 4 to 8 weeks for most people, if they are detoxing, you're done by that time. And I feel like the average is usually like, if people detox, it usually is like around a few days to a week. For more severe cases, it might take longer, but you got to stay consistent with it. You don't want to continuously be restarting it, right? Just stay consistent with it, and you'll figure out that moment when you're like, wow, I feel it. So that's why the number one thing I always tell people is stay consistent, because you will see it. And you stay on half portions until you feel like you need to move up, right? Because it's different for everybody. So sometimes, like I said, certain bodies can handle more, and certain times it's like they need to adjust to it a little bit more. So yeah, consistent, and drink a lot of water, because that's really going to help that detox period.
So you take it every day?
I do.
Every single day you take it still?
Why wouldn't I?
She's consistent.
Like to me, like this is like my thing. It's like, it's like putting something good into my body. Why wouldn't I? It's not just something that I want to take when, my body's feeling crappy again. No, I want to be putting premium grade nutrition into my body every single day, good bacteria every single day. Because here's the thing, it's kind of like, only eating healthy certain times, and then, my body feels sick again. I got to eat healthy again, right? We are like that as people. We're like, I'm good, so I'm going to stop, right? But it's just something that, the way I feel is good. I have kids. I need energy. Like, there's no way, my baby's 10 months old now, but I mean, nobody really sleeps through the night. Like, I don't know. I don't know. Like Avery, she's like,
people that don't know this, I'm actually Avery's uncle.
Yes.
Is that right? Yeah.
my daughter's uncle.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, she will randomly still wake up in the middle of the night and just wake me up and like want to hang out. The baby still does too. And I don't know if I really, get full sleep. And then all day it's like, you have things to do as a mom. You don't get to just hang out. You don't get to just lay down, so that energy, like, why wouldn't I want to feel that way every single day? So I did take a little break when I found out I was pregnant with my second one, just to get it approved by my doctor, all that kind of good stuff. And thank God it was. But yeah, I felt a difference. I felt a difference when I don't have that, those vitamins in my body. It's kind of like, that's your fuel, right? Yep. Your food, your nutrition, that's your fuel. So to me, I wouldn't not thrive on purpose.
So what exactly is Thrive for people that don't know? Because it's like supplements. It's like I see it, like there's a patch I took, and I did have energy all throughout, but like, what are the packages, products and that?
Okay, well, the three main things is, the very first one is your capsules, right? So you want to take your morning capsules. That's your pharmaceutical grade vitamins that you take first thing in the morning, because our bodies are depleted, right, overnight. So you take your vitamins with some water. 20 minutes later, you want to take that pre and probiotic shake. So the reason why we take it 20 minutes later is because we are waiting for those capsules to open. so everything can work synergistically together. So the reason why they do that though too is because it helps absorption. Certain minerals and vitamins will help each other absorb, okay? And then basically you're healing your gut, you're putting vitamins in, and then that patch, guys, it's special. It's not just a patch. It's dermafusion technology. And what it does, guys, is it infuses things in through your skin. Okay. I don't know if you've seen like fentanyl patches or like nicotine patches, but it's a great medium, okay, for absorption. So it's not only putting things into your skin, but there's an exchange there. So it actually helps all the vitamins and minerals circulate through your body throughout the day. So that's why you get that long lasting energy as well. Because I mean, there's other pharmaceutical grade vitamins out there, right? And people are like, well, why? I just don't feel them the same way. And that's because of the absorption rate. So what we get at stores, like if whatever you're getting at, you know, the drugstore, Shoppers Drug Mart, whatever, that's like a cosmetic grade kind of vitamin. So there may be fillers in there, and the quality is not guaranteed. Okay, it's like kind of like at this level where it's acceptable. Okay, so really it's not doing too much for your body, because I mean, for me, I grew up taking vitamins, right? My mom gave me all the things. I've never felt them in my life. So to me, I was like, why do I need vitamins? Like, I don't feel anything different. So whatever, I feel like I'm okay, right? But and then there's pharmaceutical grade. And some people don't feel those either. But that's because it's not absorbing into your body. You're taking it and it's going out. So what Thrive does, that's why we're broken up into 3 different steps. Okay, to help that absorption, to heal your gut so that you can absorb it. If your gut is dirty, you're not absorbing nutrients. So there's no point. So that's like the beauty of it. And when I like learned that, I was like, oh, that's why we have to do it in 3 steps. That's why. So it's a really neat patented system that, you know, is different. You'll just feel it. And then you'll see why we're able to build a business off of it, because you'll love it.
Yeah, we'll dive into the business aspect about it, but let's talk about how you got into it and what you were doing before, because I know you mentioned you were in a lot of businesses. Let's talk about what you were doing at the very beginning leading up to Thrive, and how that got started into Thrive.
How far back do you want me to go?
Where do you want to start?
Where do you want to start? Well, I wasn't into cars, but I knew you were import model at one time. Were you not? So what were you doing? Yeah, back in
another lifetime. Yeah, I mean, like that was something I did. Like there was, I mean, even before that, I was in corporate. I was in oil and gas, and I was kind of dabbling in that, like on the weekends. And then I just had the opportunity to travel, and I decided, do I really want to be sitting in this office? Or, you know, and the money was good, and I was getting, you know, paid to travel, and I was like, the corporate job's got to go, because I was not loving it. It was like killing my spirit. I hated it.
Paying to travel to do
just to do shows.
Oh, to do shows, yeah.
Stuff like that. Yeah. So I started doing that. And then, you know, to supplement my income, I was also working, you know, as a waitress at clubs, right? Just because it was something that I could just dip out when I needed to travel, right? So
that how old were you at this time?
I mean, I was young, like 19, maybe.
19, okay.
Yeah, like going that far back. But I mean, I did that for a long time, and I stayed in hospitality because I actually really just loved the industry, which is interesting. But I liked it. I liked the flexibility of it. The money was good. It was fun. You know, getting paid to party basically, right? Like it was fun.
Yeah.
And then eventually, obviously, when you get older, it's just kind of like, do I want to do this? Right? It gets tiring because those are late nights, right? When you're working at the club, when you're traveling, it's like, you know, I'd get home at like 6 a.m. sometimes. And then, you know, for a while, I kind of held it together with the corporate job, but that had to go.
Yeah.
But then it's just kind of like you kind of search for more, you know. I'm like, hey, what's my game plan? What am I going to do? Right. So I moved cities. I moved kind of like, I bounced around from different cities, had so much fun. But then I decided like, okay, well, what do I want to do? What would be fun? And so I actually bought a doggy daycare in Vancouver. So that was my business for a little while until I got pregnant and had Avery. So then I kind of freaked out and was like, because I put everything into that doggy daycare. I was there for 16 hours a day. Sometimes I would just sleep there because what's the point? I was just coming back in a few hours, right?
Mm.
Um,
I
so
didn't
that
know. I didn't know that you had a doggy daycare.
yeah, good. I did. It was
Actually, I think
so
I knew that.
fun.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
was so much fun, but I basically put, my God, 16 to 24 hours a day into it, right? I had
Yeah.
no social life. The only people I talked to were, my employees and dog parents, basically. But it was great. It was fun, but it was very draining.
Mhm.
And being a business owner and having, people's paychecks on the line, it was hard at first because I was like, I did not know a single thing about running a business.
Yeah.
I literally showed up and was like, all right, like we're open, right? Like it was like a learning curve that I had to be like, whoa. So I put in a lot of sweat equity in there. But it was awesome because it was like I learned so much, right? I learned so much.
I think that's what people don't realize is even for us as entrepreneurs and like all the businesses I got into, you're really learning as you go. There's no manual, there's nothing. You're learning from all your mistakes and like tweaking it as you go, right? So
And you got
yeah.
to put in the work too,
Oh,
right?
100%. Yeah.
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 And yeah, so I mean that was good until, basically I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna have a baby. I'm like, what the heck am I gonna do? I was just scared. It was my first one. I'm like, well, what if the dogs are,
Mhm.
what if something happens? Because like there's times where I'd have to break up dog fights. I can't be doing that pregnant.
Yeah, yeah.
So I kind of freaked out. And in that I made a decision to sell that business.
Mhm.
And at the time it was doing so well. So I actually sold it for almost triple what
That's
and
pretty good.
it
Yeah.
was great.
Yeah.
It was great. And I was like, all right, so, I'll figure it out after the baby comes, what I want to do. Because I was always very like, I had the hustle in me. I loved it. I like thrived off it literally. Like I loved it. And, I was always that person that was like, I gotta work, I gotta work, I gotta work,
Yeah.
and I don't know why. I just like, I did.
Mhm.
So I was like, I'll figure out something after the baby's born. I'm just going to relax. This is the first time I've ever gotten to like just relax and
Mhm.
not work. Right.
Mhm.
That got old really fast. I think after 2 weeks, I was like, oh my God, what am I going to do? I was like so bored. So I'm like, that's when I started dabbling into, okay, well, what kind of online businesses can I start? And I had a lot of ideas and a lot of them were just, I realized it wasn't something that was sustainable for me because I didn't actually love it. It was just an idea, right? But I think becoming a mom, it really makes you realize like, okay, like how am I going to do this? Because I figured I was like, I'll have this baby, I'll go back to work, it'll be great. I'll just start something else, I'll start another business. But the problem is when Avery came out, oh my God, so attached to her.
Yeah.
She was attached to me. Like we
Yeah.
just couldn't leave each other. And then I understood the struggle, right? I was like, oh my God, so this is why. Because before she came out, I was like, no, I'm gonna do all the things that I'm gonna let her cry it out. I'm gonna let her be independent. She has to learn, but when she came out, my God, I couldn't put her down. And I was like, okay, well, I need to think of something else because like I can't leave her.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, what can I do with a baby? So it was online businesses. I started a bunch with, myself and friends. We did like a clothing company. We did, jewelry. We did all sorts of things, and it was good, but it was also, a grind, right? It was just kind of like, you're always, what can I do? What can I do? What can I do? But at the
Mhm.
same time, I was kind of resistant to
Mhm.
learning more for some reason. I don't know. I don't know how to explain it, but I was just like, I wasn't in a rush, I guess. And it wasn't anything that I was passionate about. So, I spent a lot of time just, like I was always,
It's hard to stay I would say at like a certain path if you're not passionate about it.
That's exactly it.
You'll
Like,
that's
this is cool,
yeah.
but I'm not like, oh, wake up every day excited for this, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I was just kind of, getting by, putzing around, still like, what the heck am I gonna do? And
And
yeah,
how many years ago was this?
this was, I mean, Avery's almost 5 now, so it's like 4 and a bit years ago. And I
Mhm.
was really like, well, what the heck am I gonna do? Like,
Yeah.
I don't know, like something better fall into my lap, and I just was like really lost. And
Mhm.
everyone's like, you gotta find your passion. And I'm like, what is it? I don't know anymore. 'Cause a lot of women, when they have babies, they get lost in it. And then people are like, well, who are you? I'm like, I'm a mom. And I
Mm.
couldn't see past that. And I got really, really stuck in it, to the point where it was like very depressing, because I literally did not know who I was anymore outside of her. I wasn't a club girl anymore. I didn't want to go back to waitressing. I sure as heck wasn't going to go and, open up another brick and mortar
Mhm.
and have to work 12 hours a day. Um, nothing was really catching. So
Mhm.
I was like, okay, well, I don't know. But I was scrolling a lot on Instagram, and that's kind of how I saw Thrive. I saw it and I was just kind of like, I rolled my eyes, of course. I was like, okay, here's another like gimmicky thing. I saw this weight loss product. I did, because I saw all these like
Yeah.
crazy before and afters. So I'm like, okay, cool, but whatever. Like, scroll past, roll my eyes. I kept seeing it though. And I was like, oh, and I'm like, you know what? And at the time, like, I mean, I, again, was stuck. Me and Avery were stuck together. So I wasn't going to the gym. We were active, we walked, but I just couldn't lose the last 10 pounds. And it was kind of weighing on me. I was just like annoyed, because I'm like, I want my body back. I want my life back. And so finally, on a whim that day, I decided to just buy some, right? I'm like, what's the worst that can happen? It doesn't work. Who cares? So tried it, got my package. Day one, I took it, and I remember standing there and just feeling all the things. And I know that people that haven't felt that day one feeling don't understand the dramatics of it, but I felt lighter. Okay. Just like mentally, I felt lighter, like personally, I was going through a lot and I just felt lighter. And I felt like I could breathe for some reason. And I was so tired that when I felt that feeling, I was like, I feel good. And I remember people saying to me, like, what are you on? You're like, the way you're talking is just like you're happy. And I was like, I just tried this stuff. Like, I don't know what's in it. I had no idea what was in it. I didn't even know it's good for you. I just was like, it's some weight loss thing. And it was just weird. Mentally, I just felt really good. And then I noticed that I wasn't napping, because when Avery was that age, she was like 1 and a bit. She was still waking up every few hours a night. Like, it was like brutal. So every time she'd go to sleep, she'd want me to hold her. So I just sit there. I swear to you, I did not put that baby down. And so we were together all day long. So that I had no breaks. I had no chill, so, but I felt great. I was like taking her out everywhere. And I don't know if you ever saw, like, I was always pulling her around in that little wagon. We were always like somewhere. We're always walking out and about and having fun. So there was something to it, and I remember thinking like, damn, I feel good. And I was a coffee addict. So I was like, we'd always go on walks downtown, and I'd pick up like 6 or 7 coffees along the way, because that's disgusting. But I did, just to like keep myself going. Right.
Yeah.
So
the first day I took it, I do agree that it gave me energy throughout the day. That was one thing. The first time I actually took it, it was actually too much for me. I was like, it was too intense, but I did have energy, so I cut it down in half. But I think what it did was, after like 2 or 3, I got tired. But when I took it in the morning, it was like a long-term, more like my energy was, I didn't need that nap, as you were saying. So
that was huge for me, because it's like I could actually like sort of get things done. But hydration is key with that. So your body needs it to like move the vitamins through. So if you're not, you're burning out your body. So definitely water is a huge, huge factor in this. But yeah, like when I felt that great, I was like, wait a minute. I was told that I could get it for free if I referred friends. So I was like, okay, I'll do that then. Cause like, why not? Right. Like, so I started telling people, and then I realized, oh, you can make some money with this too. And I'm like, okay, why not? Like, sure. So then I was like, okay, well, what's, if I make $500, sure. Like, why not? It's just another thing that I'll kind of dip my toe into. Right. So I did. And I knew that I loved this product anyway. So I wanted to get it for free. If I make some money, cool. And that's kind of where it all started with me. And now look at me.
That's pretty sweet though. Like I feel like that's what something you were kind of looking for, right? Like a passion, something that you were interested, and it kind of just fell on your laps. And like it has proven results for yourself that with people that you were trying to sell it to or talk about it to, and they try it, then also they get the effects and benefits of it. So it kind of sells itself at the end of the day. Like the more people that get involved, the more people that are purchasing the product, then it also just kind of keeps on selling itself. It's almost like a viral thing, right? Because
Well,
when this is all happening, like I started seeing it everywhere, like hearing it from about everybody, right? And like Jason was one of the first people that I heard that was taking it, and it just started blowing up and blowing up. It's almost like a spiral effect. It just keeps on growing and growing. So that's good marketing.
It's honestly like when I were thinking about it, I was like, network marketing is probably one of the best business plans out there, because who are you gonna, like, yes, traditional businesses and what we're taught to do is like find a 9 to 5, and that's your whole life, right? But this business model, it's like people love to tell people what they're using, what they're doing. It's just natural. We do it every single day, right? You see somebody, struggling with somebody. Oh, you know what? My friend uses this. Let me go ask her what it is. You see a good movie. Oh my God, I know you love Will Ferrell. You got to see this movie. Hey, I know you love this pasta. You got to try this new restaurant. It's so freaking good. We do it all day long. We do it all day long. We tell people what we love. And it's like, when you see somebody that's struggling with somebody, if I see someone, they're like, oh my God, I have this huge headache. And I'm like, oh, I got some Tylenol in my bag. Do you want some? This is the same thing. So I saw a lot of my friends struggling. I saw a lot of people with new babies that were like, I'm freaking tired. And I'm like, girl, I got you. Here you go. And that's kind of how it all started. And, and it's like, you're right. Like it had to be something that I loved, made an impact on me. And because I don't think that, if I was, a shoe salesman, not knocking it, but it's not something I'm passionate about. So it wouldn't be a fun thing for me. It wouldn't ever turn into a passion for me where I could wake up and feel motivated, where I could wake up and be like, I still want to talk about my damn vitamins. Like, yes, it's the same 3 steps every day. And like 3 years in, I'm still talking about it because I'm still excited about it. But it's not only just me, it's the people that I see have changed from it as well. So, when you start getting those testimonials from people that are like, okay, wait, like this legit changed my life. That's what keeps me going as well. Right. But this business model is amazing because, they could spend their money building a retail store. They could spend their money on advertising on TV, on radio. We'll still listen to the radio. But what makes more sense right now? Influencers, people actually just word of mouth, right? Social media. And this is exactly what we have on our hands here. So this is a way that the world is moving, right? Are people eager to get into malls and stores right now? Not really. We've always been a cloud-based business that's based on, word of mouth, right? Social media, people talking that way, influencers, basically, right? So it's just how things are now. And to be ahead of the game, we've always been a cloud-based business, right? Instead of having to put the money into brick and mortars, into advertising, they put the money back into us, right? And it's like, that makes so much more sense, And so instead of just building giving money to, for rent, and ads, they're giving that money to families and for people to build. And it's just the most insane thing, because I see the impact it's made on families and for people to be able to, one, stay home with their kids, you know, go on vacations, like actually make a living helping other people feel better. It's like, I don't know, to me, it's a win-win, and it makes so much sense, especially in this day and age. And that's why, like, during this pandemic, our businesses have grown exponentially, just because I think people are realizing that right now, that, okay, well, maybe this is something smart to get into, especially with, our Southeast Asia expansion as well, right? It just makes sense. Like, imagine being one of the first people to bring this product to the States, to bring this product to Canada.
Is it all over the world right now?
So right now we're in 5 countries. We're in Canada, US, UK, Australia, and New Zealand. And we're opening up to Southeast Asia in the next few weeks here. So it's pretty insane, because so far, I mean, they haven't told us specifically which countries, but I mean, they've sent out a few teasers, and we have like Vietnam, Philippines, Singapore, Malaysia, Thailand, Indonesia, Brunei, Hong Kong, possibly Laos, and Cambodia. Like,
Crazy.
That's
it's
huge.
insane. It's insane. So it's like the lives that are going to change over there, not just even health-wise, but also financially. It's insane.
When did you realize to go all in with Thrive? Like, when did you realize you're like, okay, this is making sense. I gotta step it up, because it seems like you kind of just blew up like in the last year or so, I feel.
You're right. To be honest, like the first 2 years I was kind of dabbling. It was like I hit some big bonuses, right? And I was like, okay, well, this is good side money. I'm making a few, I'm making good money for not doing too much. So, okay, I'm going to keep it going. And I love the product, so why not? But I had other things on the go, so it wasn't my priority. It wasn't until I really started seeing like my friends' lives changing around me, like financially, health-wise, that I was like, okay, maybe something is calling me. And I started thinking about it more. Like, I would wake up and be excited to check my office and to talk to my team, right? Versus just being, oh, that's my side thing. I started to feel it more. Like, I felt more called to it. And then slowly the other things started to drop off, because I knew I found what I wanted to find. And I never really knew what, making an income and impact was really, until like, maybe you're right, 2020, when I realized like, my God, this is really helping people. This is really changing lives. I need to get my head together. And I went through a lot of things in my business. For example, I mean, we do build teams in network marketing. We can either just sell retail basically as direct sales, but we can also build teams as well and build our own residual income, right? It wasn't until I kind of hit like a crossroads where I kind of had to make a decision, because I was like, okay, I had a whole bunch of people quit. And, that was honestly maybe on me, because I hadn't stepped into leadership. Okay. So I was just kind of letting things flow. But I came to a crossroads, and I was like, okay, well, here I am. Do I want to rebuild everything, or do I just want to quit? Right. And trying so many things and quitting so many things, for me, but something just kept calling me. And I knew that maybe I was like, okay, I have to make a decision. Am I going to do this, or am I not? And I was like, you know what? I'll be damned if I give this up. I don't know. I love it. Something's calling me. I'm just going to decide. So it was that one decision to be like, are you in or are you out? And I think that's with everything. A lot of people, they just dip their toe into something and then they say, didn't work. It was too hard. But they only dipped one finger in. But they were hoping to dip one finger in, reap all the benefits, and then go all in. That's not how life works. Right? That's not how life works. You can't dip one toe in and then expect, oh my God, I made $1 million. Oh my God, now I'm all in. But a lot of people see it that way, that well, if I don't see huge traction, if I don't see huge movement, I'm out. It was too hard. So I made that decision. I was like, all right, I'm going to go all in. So I started doing the things. I said, well, let me look at the successful people. What are they doing? How can I do what they're doing? So I swallowed my pride basically. And I was like, okay, I'm going to start from ground level, and what are the successful people doing? And what do I have to do to get there? So I guess I dropped the ego. I dropped the ego and just became a sponge. I became coachable and I started learning. And I think that's on everything. I basically was resistant. I started doing a lot of self-development, which made me kind of look inwards at myself and realize, okay, well, maybe it was just a side thing for you because you were kind of scared to fail. So you didn't put yourself all in there, right? Because what if I fail, right? These are the things that hold a lot of people back, is like, well, what if I'm not good at it? Or what if what if I fail? And people always think the what if negative, right? What if I lose all my money? What if I do this? What if I'm not good? What if people judge me? All these things. And we don't look at what if it's the best thing that you ever did for yourself? What if it changes your life? What if this is your key to financial freedom, right? So I started diving into self-development, and I realized these things about myself, and it was like light bulb going off after each one. And I was like, oh my God. So then I was like, okay, so I'm in. I made the decision. Then I started dropping my ego and learning. And that's
how important was it to drop your ego? Because I feel like a lot of people's egos are in the way, and self-development of self-awareness, because I feel like that's a huge thing. How important do you think that was?
It's on everything, to be honest, everything. Because before I started diving into self-development, I thought I was good. Like, I was level-headed. I didn't think I was a crazy chick. I was cool. Like, I was relaxed. I was like logical, but I didn't even notice how much negative self-talk that I had, like, in my brain. And every time I would quit something, I'd be like, oh, I'd feel this relief. And then I'd be like, okay, perfect. Like, it wasn't meant for me. But I was doing this. I was dipping my finger in, not seeing any results, and then being like, oh, phew, that's not for me. And so that self-development was huge, because a lot of times we are the only thing holding ourselves back. And I was so scared to do things, right? So scared to talk to people, scared to like learn from other people. And it's like, I wouldn't ask anybody any questions because I should know that by now. But it's like, when you drop the ego and you're just like, let me learn from you, that's when your doors will open up. People think that, the people won't share their secrets with me, or they won't teach me things. But guess what? If you have someone that actually has an abundant mindset, they know that there's enough for everybody. And they're not in competition with you. And that's one thing that I really had to learn as well. I learned 1,000 things about myself.
It seems like
it
yeah,
was crazy because then
though.
I realized, like, there's so much work to be done inside before you can be successful. Because if you're not ready for that level of success, if you still have these limiting thoughts about yourself, you can't get there. You're showing the universe, whatever it is, that you're not ready, right? So somebody said to me, when I was like, well, I can't find the people that are like the business builders. And she's like, they're not coming to you because you're not that leader that they need. And I was like, oh, okay. But it like hit me, and I was like, you're right. I'm not doing the things. So whatever I was doing before, I got lucky. But it's like, if you see the great leaders, they don't just sit back and like people just come to them. They've done the work. They've done the learning, right? And they're constantly learning. So it was on everything. It was on everything, because if you have these negative thoughts, you can only get so far, right? If you don't believe you're worthy of it, you can only get so far. You will always block your own blessings, right? It's kind of like when things are going real, real, real good, and then all of a sudden you kind of kill it for yourself. You're blocking your own blessings, because like deep inside, you don't really think you deserve this. So I had to do a lot of work on that too. Like, no, like a lot of visualization, a lot of A lot of changes for sure. Huge.
Yeah,
That's
it sounds
great.
like a mindset thing. Like I find that a lot
Yes.
of people don't have the mindset, and when they say that they can't do something, your brain actually automatically just shuts it off. Like they're like, "Oh, you don't want to do this? All right, well, I'm gonna not think about that anymore." But if you start asking questions to yourself, like, "How can I do this? How can this be done? Who should I be talking to?" All this stuff, then your brain starts thinking like starts putting connections together. And like I feel like that's a lot of things for people too, is because it's easy to self-sabotage if you don't have the confidence, or if you don't think that you have the possibility to create a better life for yourself. And that's why a lot of people are just stuck in this place where they don't feel like they can achieve or succeed in things, is because they're scared of the failure, they're not confident with themselves, and then they also self-sabotage.
Yeah, huge, huge. And you're right about that. And a lot of times, oh, I totally just lost my train of thought.
I think the biggest thing is the self-awareness.
Yeah,
When
Yeah.
you
mindset.
when you realize how you're being is not how you want to be, and you're willing to change that, that's where the shift will happen, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, you have to hit that crossroads, right? You have to hit that time when you're like, wait a minute. And it's crazy because how I started in self-development really was kind of a fluke. I don't even know whose story it was on, but they're like, I think they had posted an Ed Milet podcast. I've never even really ever heard a podcast before. And I swiped up on it accidentally, and for some reason it popped up, and I listened to it, and it was crazy. I was like, what? I was like realizing stuff left and right. I'm like, what the heck is it? Who is this guy?
Mhm.
And I was like addicted because I was like realizing things, about he was talking about like building confidence and how do you build self-confidence, right? Because I thought I was kind of confident, but I was not.
Yeah.
And I went from, being that club girl that was like all up in everything, and to like being this mom who was very withdrawn and like lost. And I'll tell you, when I say I was shy, like if a stranger would talk to me, I would blush and sweat and like just want to get the hell out of there. Like that
Mhm.
was me. Nobody knew, because on social media I was just like, me.
Mhm.
But I was just so withdrawn. So now to be able to do the self-development and feel comfortable again and to feel confident, I feel different. I am different. And I can speak now, right?
Yeah.
Like, and so he said something like, you got to build the self-confidence by keeping promises to yourself and doing the little things that you said you were going to do, right? Because every time you let one of those little promises slide, you don't even trust yourself,
Mhm.
right? Like, oh, I'm going to work out. And then you don't, because you don't have to. And then you're like, ugh, I'm not going to do it anyways. You lose confidence in yourself, and that conveys into your whole entire life, right?
Mhm.
So one thing that I started doing in 2020 that really, really just like skyrocketed my confidence, I started doing little scary things. Okay. So I was really scared to go live on social media just because I had like one really bad experience where I just stuttered. I started sweating. It was a whole thing. And then I got offline. I wish I kept it because it was, but I was mortified. So I like delete, delete, delete. And I was like, oh my God, that was so embarrassing. I'm never going live again.
Was this
And
for Thrive?
it was. And
Okay.
I just like, so the person I was supposed to go live with kind of bailed out when I was already live. I'm like, hey, just waiting for you. They're like, oh, sorry. I'm like, oh my God. So I did like a 10-second live, was dying, like took it off my face. I just was dying. So, and I never did because I was like, that was terrible. So it was a challenge to myself.
Mhm.
And I did the live, and I actually grabbed a friend and I said, can you just do this with me? It's funner. Like it's easier when there's someone holding your hand sometimes or just with you. Um, and we got off and we were like, that was so good. That was so fun. And we're like, okay, we didn't die.
Yeah.
We didn't die. And so we just kept practicing and we kept doing it. And then we're like, okay, what else should we do? And it got addicting because you were like, okay, so getting out of your comfort zone was actually kind of cool, was actually kind of liberating. I mean, what's the next thing? We're like, we should talk in Clubhouse, we should do reels, and it's like, it becomes this fun thing to get out of your comfort zone, right? It is uncomfortable. it is weird at first, but then it's kind of like you're like it's like it being a little adrenaline junkie, you know? So yeah, like that's one thing that really catapulted things, because when I did something and then it wasn't that bad and I didn't die, it was like, okay, well, what's the next thing? I mastered it. What's the next thing? Right. And it's like growth, 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 growth. And like that's basically what 2020 was for me, was like getting my, getting my head together, dropping my ego, getting out of comfort zones. And that's why there was that massive growth in 2020, right? And it's like you have to have confidence in order to lead, in order to, be successful at things, right? Because if you don't have self-confidence, whatever you're selling, whatever you're doing, I mean, people see that, people smell that on you, right? And why would they, right? Why would they want to do business with you if you're not even sure about you?
Totally.
So yeah, that was huge. Building a little bit of self-confidence. Huge.
They say that greatness is just outside of your comfort zone. So it's
Yeah.
like, if you want to just stay in this confined box, then you're just going to have the same life that you want, or that you have right now. But if you are willing to put yourself out there and do different things and experience different things, then your life and your mindset and everything will change around you, because it's easy to just be comfortable. But if you want to just step out of that, like, the world is your oyster.
It's really hard to step out of it. That's I think people have
it's that first step.
Yeah.
But that's actually grab a friend, grab an accountability partner, right? Like even, when we're like, oh, let's do some reels, and I grabbed somebody and said, okay, let's do this together. It's just like you need that first little push, that first little step. And it's like, that's all it takes is the one step. And then it was like, hey, that wasn't that bad. And there's going to be times where you flop and you fail. And it's like, at the end of the day, let's say, and I tell this to my team all the time, at the end of the day, let's say you did a live, you sucked, it was terrible. Guess what? It's gone.
Life goes on. Yeah.
And the thing is, like, we think so hard, like, oh my God, okay, everybody's judging me. Everybody saw it. In reality, 10 people saw it. They completely have forgotten about it. And then they're not even going to sleep at night thinking about you. You're going to sleep replaying it over and over and over again. Nobody else is. We are in charge of that, right? So I mean, don't get me wrong. There's times where I will lay, you lay in bed and you're about to go to sleep, and then all of a sudden you think about something you did like 3 years ago and you're like, but you're the only one thinking about it, because really nobody else is. We are so self-centered in thinking that everybody's thinking about us, but nobody is. And that's kind of how I go. I'm like, yeah, there's probably people that are like judging me because, oh, she's talking about Thrive again. You're not my people. That's okay. I'm only trying to talk to the people that actually need this, that are like, my God, I am freaking tired. I'm going to try this out and it's going to change your life. Right. So I had to get that out of my head too, because yeah, nobody wants to be that girl, but who cares? I am that girl. I love it. I'm loud and proud. And that's the only way I think people can see your passion, is if you just stop caring what other people think.
Yeah. That's one of my favorite quotes is, they're going to judge you either when you're on the top or the bottom. They're judging you regardless. So it doesn't even matter, right?
Doesn't.
So,
and other people's opinions are their issue, is not your issue.
Yeah, exactly.
Over the last year, you grew the team, you working hard. What do you think the biggest lesson you've learned over the last year about business and growing a team?
Consistently, being trustworthy. I know consistency is a word that everybody is always thrown out there, but it's because it's true, right? If you aren't there for your team, if you're not there and people cannot trust you, they won't be doing business with you. Straight up, right? So and just building real relationships. Like one thing that I found really kept me going last year was this community and this team that we built together. Just knowing that, we can rely on each other and help each other. We have turns where like, okay, I'm feeling some type of way. I need you to talk some sense into me, because we're all going to go through the feelings. Sometimes I wake up and I'm like, what am I even doing? But it's like we have those people, and I think my big lesson too was just learning to lean on people, because I'm such an independent person that I'm like, I don't need nobody. I got this. I don't want to bug anyone with my problems. But a lot of times we just need that one phone call and we're right back, right? So not being scared to ask for help and support was huge for me, huge. And self-development, of course.
Yeah.
Having the
totally.
right people around you, I think is
Mhm.
too. Because like
Yeah.
even if you are in this like path of trying to grow and there's all these people that are not in the same mindset, it actually is like an anchor. Like you're
Yeah.
trying to like excel at a certain speed, and like the people around you are not in that same mindset or support. It actually is a real drag, because you're like, you see the potential in yourself, but they don't see the potential in themselves. So it's actually like a huge
You
impact
can't,
on
yeah.
your groups. Yeah.
You can't see vision for other people. And, a lot of times, you want something for somebody, but they don't want it bad enough for themselves. And I had to learn to let that go, because it's like, for me, I'm like, I see this for you. Like, come on, like, do you get it? Like, I see this, like, let's do it together. But if they don't see it, you cannot see vision for somebody else. You can put, you can lay it out, but I mean, you cannot force them to take the steps, right? And that's kind of where, like, I also learned how to set boundaries with people, because there's going to be people who drain your energy, and I was letting it. I'm an empath. I feel a lot of people's energies, and I'm a very like mellow personality, so a lot of people will um can push my boundaries, and then I ended up feeling frustrated and like, oh my god, overwhelmed. So I learned to just put up to just respect my own boundaries, I guess. That was huge for me, because I was a type of person before where, okay, just take as much as you need, and then I'm left with, oh my god, I got to deal with all the aftermath, right? So energetic boundaries was huge for me. Just knowing, if someone's calling me and they're complaining and they're like dumping on me, and then I would let them for hours, and then I would be like, oh, I feel drained, I feel gross, I don't, and then I would get that negative kind of feeling. So energetic boundaries for me was huge, saying, you have 5 minutes. You have 5 minutes, and then let's figure this out. Either we're going to figure this out, we're going to figure out this problem, or you just needed 2 minutes to vent, and let's be done with it. I'm not going to sit here in this rabbit hole and fall down this rabbit hole with you, because how can I even help you if we're in the hole together, right? So setting up boundaries was huge for me, to actually be productive, because I found that it was sucking up so much of my energy that I was wasting a lot of time and energy there. So boundaries was huge for me. And to be honest, I don't think I ever really had boundaries, because I was always that easygoing person. So I was like, sure, just dump it all on me. I'll just deal with it. I'll process it quietly on my own. So now I'm like, no, keep it. Nope, I got things to do today. Keep it. So, and that's the thing. You can't help your friends. You can't help your family if you're completely drained as well, right? So that was huge for me, was boundaries. Even with my kids, I'm like, okay, like I need boundaries too, because otherwise they would be sitting all over me right now, right? So I needed to set those boundaries to be like, okay, well, I need an hour a day. Or I started waking up early too, just to have that space. Otherwise, it's like, yeah, your kids will drain you.
Could you talk about just quickly about how the structure works in your business? Of like how someone is like, oh, I want to make 6 figures and thrive. How do I do it?
Well, it takes work.
That's another thing. I feel like when you say it, yeah, making 6 figures and thrive, it's actually a lot of work. And people, I know back in the day when I sell multi-level marketing, or not direct marketing, or however you call it, right? I think people think it's actually easy, and it's actually not. It's actually a lot of work that you're putting in.
Well, I mean, okay, it's like pick your hard, right? Hard to me is having to get up at 6 a.m, get ready, drive to work, have all my kids' stuff done, and then drive to work for 9 hours and then come back. That's a hard day for me, and not see my kids. that's something I'm not willing to do. So hard, yeah, you have to put in the time. You have to basically stay consistent with it, because again, you can't just dip a toe in and then say it didn't work. It's not a get rich quick scheme, right? A lot of people think, oh, okay, like if I don't make a few $1,000s in my first month, I'm out. I'm not going to be successful at it, right? But it takes time to build, just like any other business. A lot of times, like, if you're building a brick and mortar, I mean, you're putting in 6 figures or more to set up your company, right? And then you got to put in the work every single day. So it's kind of like, but for us, we basically can start anytime, right? Anytime you get a starter pack, you're in business. You have a business in a box, right? But what you do with it is up to you. So if you're not motivated, and you don't have to, no one's going to be like, hey, you got to be at work at 8. You don't have to. So if you're not self-motivated, if you're not passionate about the product, it is going to be hard. But for me, it's not hard, because I wake up, I take my Thrive, I talk to people, like, to me, this is fun. But
Yeah.
did it take work to get here? Yes. And by work, I mean, holding the team meetings, getting everybody,
How many
organized.
meetings do you have a week, you would say? Because it
I
seems like,
have a lot.
yeah, it seems like you guys are always posting
Well,
these.
because
Yeah,
it's different
yeah,
too,
yeah,
because like we can't physically meet, right?
yeah.
So we do a lot of our things with Zoom,
Mhm.
obviously. And because, we're onboarding a lot of new people. So instead of just meeting them in person, we do everything through Zoom. Instead of a phone call, we do things through Zoom, because I just find it a little bit more personal. I like to see who I'm talking to, versus like talking on the phone, right?
Mhm.
Or through text messaging. So we do a lot of those. And I mean, I started my first 2 years never being on one call. Okay. I'm not proud of that. But it doesn't take much time. You can do everything on your phone. But for me, it is 3 years in. So I do have more things to manage, right? But to get here, you don't need to sit at a desk for 8 hours a day, right? You don't. I built my first 6 figures basically on my phone, raising Avery. Just during nap times, I woke up earlier, perfect. Nap time, perfect. After she went to bed, perfect. That's when I'm going to follow up with my people. That's when I'm going to start posting about it. That's when I'm going to reach out to people who I think this would really help, right? So that's basically how I started my business. And then listening to trainings, when I actually like opened up my mind and was like, okay, I need help, I started listening to trainings and listening to what other people were doing, how to grow their networks, right? That's the name of the game in network marketing, is basically, meeting new people and growing your network. And because we're not really like super out and about nowadays, we're doing a lot of that online.
Mhm.
So it is work, but it's not hard work. It takes dedication, even when you don't feel like it. It takes consistency, even when you don't feel like it. But I choose my hard. My hard is having to go to a 9 to 5 for peanuts, and then
Yeah.
not seeing my kids, and then having to pay for daycare. Like, that makes no sense to me. That's hard to me.
Mm.
Um, so hard waking up and, sitting here and reaching out to people and figuring out ways to train the team and those kind of things is not hard for me. I like doing it. Does it get like heavy sometimes and overwhelming? Yeah, but it's one day. It's just one day. It's not a hard life. It's a hard day. It's not a hard life, right? So I mean, I can't,
I like that.
Yeah.
yeah. It's just,
It's a
there's
good
gonna
motto.
be days
It's a
like,
hard day. It's not a
Not a
hard
hard
life.
life. Yeah,
yeah,
that's a good one.
yeah. And it's like, we're blessed, right, to be able to have flexibility. So yeah, some days it's, a lot. Some days I am sitting here for a long time, but I know that it's, I love it. I strive off of it because new people are excited. They're getting started. They're, and I love it. It's like, I'm just like that new energy. It's amazing. So, I mean, it may take more time as you go on, but, my God, this company is very generous to us, right? And they'll take care of us. So it's kind of like, why wouldn't I do that? I could be spending 9 hours a day in an office doing something I'm not passionate about. Or, I mean, most of the time my kids are with me. During my Zoom meetings, they're always with me or beside me. So it's kind of like, yeah, it's like I could just have to multitask, but it can be done. I just got to show up. And basically, like, we set in a lot of systems and blueprints last year. So now it makes things a lot easier. So was that work to get all the systems in play, all the manuals done? Yes, it was work. It was actually work. But now that it's done, it's set. Now everybody coming in has a plan that they can follow, right? Somebody got to do it, right? So but now it's like that work is done for the future generations.
Yeah, systems are like, that's what me and Dave are working on right now as we're growing, is systems to make everything more efficient.
Yeah,
That's like something you got to do, right?
you got to just put in that work, and then once
Yeah.
the systems are in play, you're good,
Yeah,
right? Because now you can just put the people through the system and they get it.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was a little bit of work to set up, but when I just sat down and hammered it out, it was like, all right, now it's done. Now it's done.
You're ready to go to the next level now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you just have to really, when you are wanting to go to that next level, you just have to think, what would that person do? If you want to be making six figures anywhere, can you just put in 3 hours a week? Probably not, right? Probably not. Maybe eventually, but your first six figures is the hardest, right?
Mhm.
Because you have to learn, you have to put the systems in play. And once you got that down, now the second one's going to be easier. And the third one's going to be easier, right? And because of our business structure, it's like, maybe the 10 people that I know also 10 more people, and they know 10 more people. And that is the beauty of network marketing, because some people only know, okay, well, I have 10 close friends. Now, out of those 10 close friends, how many people do they know?
Mhm.
And that's a beautiful thing, because yes, we make commissions on direct sales. If I just have one customer that's like, okay, well, I just want to buy 1 month. Yes, I'll get that commission now. But with my teams, it's, if you love the product, why aren't you already sharing it? Why aren't you making money off of it too, right? Just like people who post their Starbucks every single day, you ain't making money off of it,
Mhm.
right? So why not? Why not add in another stream of income? If you love it and you're helping people, then why not, right? But that's how it grows, and that's the beauty of it, is that if you set people up correctly, they can duplicate that and teach other people. And that's the beauty of it. That's the beauty of network marketing, and that's why I love this business structure.
Totally.
I am passionate about it. So
Yeah, we could tell.
That's a good thing.
Dave, did you have any other questions for Steph?
Yeah, I wanted to know what it was like just dealing with like haters. Like, I feel like with this stuff, like as you get busier, as you get more successful, there's always going to be haters doing, like, talking about the stuff. So I just want to hear about that, like what it was like for you.
okay. Well, I've kind of had haters like all my life, to be honest, and I don't know. It was when I first started, of course, I definitely had people being like, what the heck? Like, what is this? Like, oh my God, this is a scam. You're like promoting like people, like a diet product basically. And people got mad. Like, people got mad, and people were like yelling at me through the phone. And I almost quit, to be honest, because I was like, I was weak, I guess, and I was like, oh my God. And so that's when the fear of, okay, well, people are going to judge me, so I'm going to play small, right? I don't want to be too out there just in case, like, people, so I'm going to just wait and just play it down, make myself smaller. And then I just kind of, the more I went on and the more kind of positive feedback I got from people saying like, no, I love it. It built that confidence in me, right? To be like, well, there are people that love it, right? But the time, it's like a switch kind of went off. So at first people were like, ew, what is this foreign idea? We're not into it.
Yeah.
To me, consistently a year, still talking about these damn vitamins, that they're like, okay, well, we're not even going to bother her because clearly she's in it. Clearly she cannot be convinced, and 3 years later, not one person will say anything to me. They might talk behind my back. I don't know. I don't really care. But it was the self-development that really shot it down for me. So when I realized that, when people people will try and bring you down. People will not support you because they are scared of change, right? We are all taught differently. Some people are taught to be closed-minded, have a scarcity mindset. Some people are very taught to be very abundant, right? And that there's opportunity everywhere. I wasn't like really raised like that. I was raised to in a more scarcity mindset, being, okay, no, you gotta work 9 to 5, make sure you save your money. You gotta have a pension. You gotta work for the city. You gotta, all these things, right? I was never taught to look for an opportunity or to like be smart. I was, and like look for what's out there, right? So a lot of people, they just don't have that mindset. And I had to realize that. And I had to also realize that, when you start to improve yourself, when you start to do things differently, those people, those friends, that family, they're like, oh my God, we're going to lose her, right? They're not open-minded yet. They're not comfortable with it. So that's why they'll try and bring you back to their comfort zone, their little bubble, because you're going somewhere and they're scared that, oh my God, she's going to be so successful. Look at her, she's going up. She's not in that. Misery loves company. That's what it is. Misery loves company. And when you're not there, it's scary for people because it's like, okay, I got to drag them down so that they're back in this misery bubble with me and we can be miserable and talk about people, So I kind of started realizing that, because of course there's family and friends that don't support you, right? That will always be a thing. And to be honest, it happens a lot, that people are just like, what is this new foreign idea? I was not taught to do this. I was taught to conform, right? So I started to realize that it's not me. It's just their own past experiences. So maybe they did have a bad experience with network marketing. Maybe they did have a bad reaction to something else. That's not on me, right? That's not on me. That's based on other people's past experiences. So that's why when people project on me, it's like, I don't actually spend the energy there anymore. So in the beginning, when people were like, oh, is that a scam? Like I'd get all like, actually, but now I'm like, no, no. And that's about as much energy as I'll put into it. Because the people sometimes that want to drag you down, they'll still kind of watch you to see if you fail. And then all of a sudden, maybe you'll say something and it'll kind of open their mind a little bit more. And then it's like they start to just see, oh my God, look at her, she's changing. Like, oh, I don't want to, and the kind of like the fear of losing you turns into FOMO. Now it's like, well, I kind of want to go on those trips and like, okay, fine. Like I'll drop my ego, I'll drop my pride, right? So yeah, I guess handling the haters is, you got to know that when you do reach a certain level, they will drop off and they will probably end up being in business with you or accepting it. But sometimes it's that little adjustment period where people have a problem because they're just like, what are you doing now? Like, oh, you have new friends? Like, oh my God, what is this, right? And I was on the other end of that too. I mean, I saw some of my friends glow up and I was still stuck in my negative mindset. And inside my head, I was like, oh, it's probably not going to last anyways. And then I'll have them back. So, I know because I was that negative person before. So now when I see it, I'm like, it's okay.
Yeah.
I'll love you where you're at. And, we're cool, but, get your nasty vibes away from me.
Yeah. You're not taking it as personally, I think, is what it sounds like.
It's not about you. It's not.
Yeah.
Exactly. I feel like once you're more self-aware about that and understand yourself, then like everything external doesn't really have an effect on you, because at the end of the day, it's not what you're committed to. And like shit, I just lost my thought on that.
Well, it's kind of like, you live your own life.
Yeah.
In the end of the day, if you're letting other people's opinions and other people's energy dictate your day and your life, you're not living for you. And at the end of the day, they could just ditch you and be like, I'm done. Or I'm going to do that to you and be like, damn, I missed out. Like I missed out on my own life because I was worried about what this stranger was saying to me on the internet. Like that's wild, right? You got to just live for you. But self-development is like the center of everything, really.
I totally agree. Totally.
I remember now. So like let your results prove it, right? And let them see your results and just keep on working at it for yourself, and then let the results prove them, right? So I think that's really important, is just keep committed to what your goals are.
Totally.
Exactly.
Steph, we had a lot to talk about. Is there any last things you want to share or leave for the listeners? I just like to give an opportunity if there's anything. If not, it's fine. But yeah, any last words before we wrap this up here?
Open mind, and look up abundance mindset versus scarcity. And honestly, your life will change when you realize those principles of like having an abundant mindset and having a good grasp on how you feel about money and other people's opinions. So that's it. Also get thriving. Get thriving. And yeah, that's it. Thank you for having me.
How
Where
can
they?
people find you?
Yeah.
Where can they find me?
Yeah.
On Instagram, it's Steph Ly 100. That's where I mostly hang out, to be honest. That's like my hub, and that's like my favorite social platform. But yeah, that's where you'll find me.
Awesome.
Awesome. Well, thanks for coming on.
Thank
Thanks, Steph. That was
you.
Okay.
awesome.
Bye, guys.
Bye.